quick early morning run with my running partner. Okay, that was just about 5 miles. It wasn't bad. For not having run in a bit, it felt pretty good. Got a little bit of pain in my left knee. Don't know what that's about. I used to get that, but then once I started riding horses, I think the squeezing used weird muscles and made my knee pain stop. So, ooh, these, hold on, I gotta show you these flowers. They're really, really beautiful. Hold on. So last night was a mystery. I was well-intentioned to do the spreadsheet and all the work I had to do. I left about a quarter of my burrito for myself, so I ate that and it was good. And the next thing I knew, I woke up on the couch. But I'd been like deep asleep. And I was like, oh God, what time is it? You know, and it was like 11 p.m. So I'm not really even sure. Like, I don't know if I fell asleep at like 8:30, but it was like a heavy, deep sleep, and I was so confused when I woke up. I wasn't drinking, but like something weird. I don't need a lot of sleep. Typically, I operate pretty well on like 5 hours a night. And the past couple of weeks, it's been like, I fall asleep on the couch, then go to bed. So I sleep on the couch for like 4 or 5 hours, and then sleep in bed for 3. Like, it's strange. I think going forward, maybe this week, I'm gonna set a bedtime for myself. 10 p.m. I go into bed and go to sleep. And let's see if that breaks the system, because it's bizarre. It's weird to have no memory of like, I lie down on the couch. I don't remember. I remember being at the computer. I wonder if I'm possessed. We are starting what is to be a pretty long day at school. Parents' night it always throws you for a loop, because you go to work, you work a full day, then you go home, take the dog out, change your clothes, go back, and then you have to teach, not really teach, but you meet with 5 classes of parents for 12 minutes each at night. It's not hard. I genuinely enjoy it. In a class like mine, I think parents are generally concerned that they want to make sure that their kids are going to be in a safe environment. You know, that I'm not some maniac or some apathetic old guy who sits in his office and smokes cigarettes while the kids just do what they do on the machines. It is a great opportunity for me to put people's minds at ease and kind of sell the program, you know, convince them that it's a worthwhile thing. It's just another instance where you really have to bring the energy, and you kind of have to dress the part. Typically jeans and like a button-up shirt that's nicer than what I'd wear to work, but not too nice. And yeah, that'll go until almost 8 o'clock tonight. Then you go home, sleep, and go back and do it all again tomorrow. So here's what's on my mind right now. My wife has been on me to send back the spreadsheet that she started, indicating how we divide up all our things. She's waiting on that, and I get it. Now that I know she's moving, I get the context more. If I can work backwards logistically, if she starts work October 1st, she has to move into some place a couple days beforehand, I'd assume. You don't want to move to town the Sunday before you start work the Monday, if you're moving your whole life up there. So she wants to make a plan and is probably frustrated that it seems like I'm willfully holding the plan back. I'm not. I'm going through my days. I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to the barn when I feel like it, because it keeps me centered and grounded and makes me feel like I'm not alone. And a lot of good comes from the barn. Sometimes I fall asleep at night. I have no control over that. I'm doing what I can. Also, the way she wrote the list is so kind of convoluted, and it's kind of hard to move things around and do a paper negotiation about who wants what. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to divide up all our stuff. It doesn't feel good. I don't have this big impetus to be like, yes, let's divide everything up. Let's look at everything we own devoid of sentiment and see who gets what. And then the imbalance of, if something means more to me than it does to her, but she wants it, it feels like, why? If I feel like something should have sentimental value to her and she doesn't care about it, that also hurts my feelings. You know, there's things in our house that have been part of our relationship for a long time. Case in point, and maybe it's a little basic, but whatever. The night we got engaged, you know, like we were excited, like we got engaged, yay, we're gonna get married, we'd love each other. We opened a really nice bottle of wine and we saved that bottle. You know, it's just sort of like a symbol. And or we have 2 bottles in the house, and I know it's a little like saving bottles, but the day she passed the bar exam, I had gone out and I got a really nice bottle of champagne, like way more expensive than anything I'd ever purchased before, and I had it hidden in the refrigerator. Like, the bottle was like wrapped in a brown bag in the back of the refrigerator behind stuff. Because what if she didn't pass the bar? You know, it was one of those things, like, it was hidden there so it would be cold, but I wanted to make sure, like, if God forbid she didn't pass the bar, which I really didn't have any doubts about, that I could get it out of the fridge and, you know, save it for the But the day she passed the bar exam was a humongous day for both her personally and us. So in our house we had those 2 bottles. They're empty bottles, but they represent so many things, you know, that like milestones. What do I do with those? Because if you remove sentiment from that, they should be placed in the recycling bin. And it's just a funny thing about objects that way. The sentiment is kind of conditional in terms of when she loved me and we had a relationship, those things meant so much. And now that she's decided she doesn't love me, they're just objects again. And I guess what I really want is, I don't want to be the one that recycles them. Since she's done this, I want her to physically get rid of them. I want her to physically pick them up and put them in recycling and discard them the way she's discarded everything else. I don't want that to be my mess to clean up, because while I could do it, I don't want to. It still hurts me to do. I never sought to get rid of the relationship. Objects of sentiment in our relationship are challenging for me to get rid of. I could. I really don't want to. So that's one level of things. And then the next level of things are like things that I made her. I made her a really nice hallway table, side table. It's made out of spele. It's got curved legs, like tapered all directions. And it was just a nice little piece. It took me a while, but on her spreadsheet of things she wants, that's not listed. What I don't want to do, I don't want to ask her the question. I don't want to be like, hey, that table I made you, do you want it? And have her say no. Because that would hurt my feelings. I can take the hit, of course. But it's just another one of those things in this breakup process where it's like, does nothing of our history mean anything to you? I guess that's what I've been hoping I'd see, that at some point there'd be some respect for our relationship or respect for our past or sentiment that way. And there's been none of it. So the table I made her, I don't know what's gonna happen to that. The wedding albums, I've been hung up on that since day one. Like, does she want that? Like, what do people do with wedding albums? We have 2. We have one that was part of a sort of debacle with the photographer, so it's a pretty small album, but it's beautiful. And then we have a bigger one that I made for her because she was so upset about the first wedding album thing. I put a lot of time into it. It was a big project that I did for her. She has certainly not indicated that she wants to keep that. So what I don't know is, am I being pathetic here? My thing is this. I had a 7-year relationship, a 5-year marriage, 4.5-year marriage that I loved. I loved being married. So some of the remnants of that, like, I still look at with positivity. It was good for me. Like, I loved being married, so my wedding is still one of the best days of my life. Now, I think my wedding is the best day of my life. It was such a happy day. It was filled with such intense positive emotion. So an album of photos from that day is meaningful to me. People have asked me, like, well, would you keep the album? And I was like, yes. It was a great, like, it was about so much more than just me and her. I mean, the me and her was amazing, but it's family and friends and love and support. And God, it was big. It was not big in terms of numbers. It was a big deal to me. And I guess secretly, I've been hoping that she would feel the same way. And I guess maybe she doesn't. You know, if she doesn't want any of the memories of it or the reminders of it, I guess that's kind of telling, isn't it? But those are conversations hard to have via email. But I think her and I in person aren't good. I think things fall into disarray very quickly when we're in the same room. Because we have chemistry and because she is pretty volatile. I kind of have this feeling like it's just going to be a loss. It is only stuff, and neither of us is going to come out feeling like we won. I think both sides are going to come out unhappy and feel like they were unsuccessful. And maybe that's the mark of a good division of stuff. Nobody's too happy or nobody's too sad. Because in the end, there's nothing happy about it for me. It's something you have to do that you don't want to do that sucks. All right, so that one's done. Cool. It was a great day. I forgot to eat lunch because I was talking to people, so that was okay. Taught the table saw differently. Instead of going machine to machine, like one after another, I taught it as a sequence. So we started with a rough cut piece of wood and just went joiner, joiner, planer, table saw. And like I kind of introduced all the machines sort of quickly. My classes did an amazing job of helping me like clean and maintain the shop. So it looks pretty good for parents tonight. I feel pretty positive about it. Headed home for a little bit to walk the dog and just not be at school and change and things. Relationship things. Still haven't heard back from my attorney, which I think is weird, but he's kind of a big deal. So he's probably kind of busy. It's just a little weird because I am kind of concerned about the things, you know, the quitclaim and all the things that I've had pressure put on me for. I'm just not going to stress. I wrote an email to the mediator and my wife just saying, sorry, still haven't heard from my mediator, my attorney. I'm working on dividing up, you know, the Excel spreadsheet, dividing up our stuff, but it's really cumbersome to have values and tallies and totals on everything, particularly when you want to talk about things you want to divide up and then it affects these like running totals of how much it's all worth. It just seems, so petty, and it seems like I'm better than that and we were better than that. Like we should just be able to divide it up and not have it be a big deal. I don't understand her, so the things she wants to take, I don't understand. I don't understand her motives. And I guess I don't need to. I guess I just need to be done. All she wants is to never deal with me again, which hurts. Looking at it through that lens, then I really don't need to know the hows and whys of it. She just wants to be done. She wants to be out, and she wants to probably get as much of the nice things as she can. It's such a weird feeling. It's really hard because if you stop and process it too much, like I can feel it in my chest right now talking about putting words to and saying out loud that she just wants to be done and away from me. Even now, even though I'm doing really well, it's still like I can feel it in my chest, the fact that it still hurts that she just doesn't want me. And I can honestly tell you right now, I'm not sitting here really wanting her. It's the fact that she doesn't want me. Because I'm me, and I'm still nice, and I'm the person that she loved for so long. She isn't the same, but I very much am. I mean, I'm stronger and better and more independent. You know, I'm going through this process, but at my core, I'm still the same awesome person that she married. It still hurts that after 6 months, she hasn't been like, oh God, I miss him, he's great. And it shouldn't matter, but it hurts. Because I think we all want to be wanted and love to be loved. I didn't do anything to not deserve it. I didn't do anything to feel as bad as I feel at the end of this relationship. And I think that's the challenge, is I hold myself to a really high standard interpersonally. I'm a really loyal friend. I'm the most dedicated husband. And I'm still holding myself to this standard of excellence that truly doesn't matter anymore. She's not evaluating me the same way. She's not looking at me with love and being like, God, he's great. She's looking at me thinking, I cannot wait to be away from him. He's so annoying. He's so terrible. Man, that sucks. It's hard. So it's hard to simultaneously deal with that and also disregard it in a way that will enable me to be attractive to other people. Because I know those things aren't true. They're only true to her. But universally, they're not. And it's heady. It's two different kinds of processing. People keep asking me, like, so what comes next in this divorce process? They're like, when's your next mediation? And I'm like, we don't have another one. She made an offer. I made a counteroffer. And then she wanted to get attorneys involved. You know, she's desperate to get the house split up because she's moving. It'd be nice if that gets done, but it doesn't matter, does it? So I sent this email today. I mean, I can play her game the way she tattles on me to the mediator. I can do the same thing. So in this email I sent today, I just said, you know, I'm sorry I haven't heard from my attorney. I will let you know as soon as I do. That I'm working through the spreadsheet on our personal stuff, but it's really cumbersome with all the dollar values and stuff attached to it. Like, it's just, if there's something she wants and has a dollar value attached to it, but then I also want it, I don't know how to change the totals on the bottom. Like, it's just, it's ugly. And then the last thing I said was, I said I'd like to resolve the car registration issue because you said you'd leave it in the mailbox. And then when you went into the condo last week, I thought maybe you'd leave it there, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. That was just a way of letting the mediator know, like, yeah, she went in the condo again without telling me because her boyfriend's a fucking spy. Oh, God, I hate him. He's such a... And I think being a logistically minded person, I'm just curious about the whole thing. Like, are they moving together? Are they moving separately? Are they going to do long distance? Is she going to rent an apartment for a month? When is he moving? When is he taking the horses? Like, when they close on the property, does work have to be done? Has work begun? Just stuff. Is he going to notify the barn when he's leaving, or is he going to up and go? And I shouldn't care about any of those things. None of that should matter to me. But my brain goes to it. And I try and think about the therapy thing where it's like you can't control your first thought, but you can control your second. So those come into my mind and I sort of push them down. But they still come back because I just wonder, when I go to a concert and I wonder how all the lights work and who's controlling the sound and what that looks like. And I think processes are fascinating. How do you make things work? How do you make things flow? Part of why I love my job is the logistics of it. Throw 100 beginning woodworking students into a program. We meet a couple times a week. How do I turn them from people that don't really know anything to people that know how to do things and are creative and are safe and are experimental? And how do I keep the shop running and machines fixed and do all the things to make everything work? That's the wild part of it. It's like, oh, I have to order this, I have to get that, I have to do this to make that. Like, yeah, it's wild. So it makes sense that I'm curious about the mechanics of their relationship because it's so improbable to me that it's working. I mean, it's painful and it sucks, and on some level, I kind of hope it doesn't work out. But just from like an outsider perspective, I'm fascinated. I'm so blown away by how much effort my advanced kids put into making the shop good today. Like, they really performed above expectations. It was great of them. I asked what I needed and they gave me what I asked for, and it was perfect. And it makes me so much more willing to give them more than they ask for, to try and be even better for them. Like, it really, God, it's so good for relationship building. I'm loving this year. Like, I really am. The kids are good. I feel good. I feel good in the classroom. I'm really pleased. Yeah, she's kind of shot herself in the foot that way. It didn't have to be this ugly because she fixated on the fact that I talked to his ex-girlfriend on the phone. Fixated on it. Would not tell me anything because of that reason. She can't trust me because I talked to her. She won't tell me anything about her life because I talked to her. She drove this humongous wedge between us, which is now hurting her. If I don't know anything, why would I be eager to help? When you surprise me with things that legally don't make sense and make me feel unstable, why would I take any risk? And I asked her time and time again, talk to me, let me know what's going on, what's happening. And she wouldn't. Now that it's not going her way, I just don't care as much. Not that I don't care, I just don't care as much. I tried everything I could try in this situation. That's the only upside I can take from this. I tried everything. I said everything I could say. I tried everything I could try. I was more patient than I think the average person would be. I was sincere. I tried. And it has failed. I think when you do that, when you put yourself out there completely, when you take emotional risks and financial risks, when I persisted in the name of love, in the name of the relationship, for the sake of the legacy we had, and when you try time and time and time again, and fail, at some point your brain goes, okay, that's good, that's enough. And I think my brain is saying that. I think my brain's like, all right, man, I can't figure out any other ways to solve this puzzle. This is one effed up puzzle. You have tried. It's time to put it down. It's time, like, you can't. I think it's not an act of will. I think it's just my brain is kind of getting to that point. I did everything I could. I tried everything I could think of. Trying in the face of failure, giving her space when I didn't want to give her space, being patient, thinking it was a relationship blip. Just everything I could try, I tried. And I can't think of anything else. And it's been 6 months, which is both very fast and very slow. I'm experimenting with a little light to see if I can record while driving in the dark. I had a good night. I genuinely like connecting with the parents and sort of selling my program, trying to convey what I like, trying to show them what the classroom is like, what my demeanor is like, who their kid's going to be hanging out with and talking about for the year, that I'm invested, that I care, and that I'm real. The night went really quickly. I'm a little talked out, but I have to admit that thanks to you guys, like thanks to making these videos for the past 5 months, filling 12 minutes with talking is easy. Like, it was nothing. Thanks for helping me be better in the class. And talking to him tonight and telling him some of my stories, he was like, you sound good, Ken. He said, you don't sound perfect, but you sound better. And I was like, I am a little better. I'm still broken, but something is different. He's someone I told about this breakup from pretty early on. It's nice for someone who's been with you along the way to recognize that you sound better. Last week, my therapist was like, how did she put it? She said something like, you're going through this process beautifully, or like, basically in this break, like I'm present and I'm aware, and basically like I'm doing it right. Like, like if there's a way to go through this horrible process right, I'm doing it pretty well. And I don't know if she's saying that just because she can tell I need that kind of affirmation, or it's just true, but it does me so good to hear that. When I sort of complain sometimes and I'm like, there's no rule book for this. There's no way to know if you're doing it right or not. To have somebody who's smarter than you, like my therapist, let me frame it. To have somebody who's smarter than me tell me that I'm doing some part of this well, it's a really great affirmation. There's got to be a lesson there. Like, I think what I've found is that I've been in such a low place and so desperate and so sad. So many people around me have gathered around me and helped me and been supportive and strong and nurturing. And I'm doing better as a result of them. So I guess the lesson is that I need to be aware of other people, or when other people are at a low point, and try and give back in the same way, because I would not be where I am if it weren't for all the kindness of others.